got 4 metal prints that need to get packed up and shipped out today, 2 of which have already been done in previous videos. And so we just have these 2 left to make. We're gonna make these, pack them up, and I'll take you through the entire process. So these are the 2 photos. They're just, couples basically. But if any of you have been doing this sublimation metal prints for a long time and are really good at it, please leave a comment or send me a message. I'd love to talk with some of you guys so I can try and learn a little bit more about what I'm doing here. I'm not much of an expert. I'm just trying my best to get better at things. And so if you have some things that you can share with me to help me out, I would really love that. If you have a metal print shop in the Charleston area too, I'd love to come just check it out and spend the day there and learn from you. I know as a competitor, you may not want that, and so totally understand, but my hope is just to try and learn a bit more this year, spend some time around other people doing the same thing that are a lot better at it than I am, and try to gain some knowledge in this space, because there is a lot of mistakes that I make that I don't understand, and a lot of things about this like entire metal printing world that I don't understand. So I would like to get a little better at it. These are the 8x12s, I hope. Yep. That out. These are all Chromolux, so we're gonna grab 2 of them. I like how these are packed up with these safety sides on here. I almost would like to have some type of box for my metal prints when I send them out individually. These are just for blanks, obviously, as you can see. But if I could do that for one single metal print, I could probably eliminate some box sizes, because these are multi-sized, and then you just fold them around the print. I don't know if it would be stable enough though to ship alone for some of the bigger prints. Try to pull this plastic off. You know, that's something I would really like in the future, maybe sometime this year, would be to have a good box system. So, you know, having just nicer boxes and a more simplified selection of them. Also having the components of it look more professional and really nice. You know, I really like when you get those kind of packages that are built out. They look like they spent extra money on them, and they look really, really nice with all the branding and the protective stuff and everything like that. Whenever I think about like doing more stuff, like adding more signs and doing different things, I remind myself that there's a million different things and improvements you can make to just one single product to make it a lot better, instead of jumping around and doing 100 different things in and of themselves. So like I could make these, and I could make street signs, and I could make printed signs and everything else like that. But then I'm reminded that there's a million things I can do just for metal prints to make them better and make them higher quality, because I'm not where I want to be with them yet anyways. So then that eliminates all my other options, and I just decide that I'm gonna go all in on this and keep focusing on these and trying to make them better in any way possible. Because when you just think about boxes, there's 10 or 20 different things you can do with boxes alone, and that's not even the actual product, that's just the box. And if you have 10 different lines of signs, you know, 10 different products sign wise, then you have 10 different types of boxes you need to accommodate that with. And that's way too much for one person. And it's too much to make something really nice if you have that much going on. The other thing I think about is like there's already a ton of big metal print, not a ton, but there's a handful of big metal print companies that do really, really exceptional work. And so if you're gonna do tons of different signs, do you really plan to be able to compete with those that are just focused on one thing and making it exceptional? Also, like if you only had one option, like you only could do metal prints, what would it take to make it amazing? Like so good that you would never want to do anything else anyways. And if this was your only option, what would you do? There's probably 100 different things that you would do to make it better if this was your only option. And so I try to kind of put constraints around what I'm doing lately and saying like, if this is all you have, how can you make it as good as possible? And then I'm like, well, I would have to stay in this for many years just focusing on this one thing, because it's going to take many years to actually get really good at something like this. Because you have people that have been in this for 20, 30 years that just have so much more experience than you, and there's so much trial and error you're going to go through to make it to the standard that you want it. Every week I think about quitting this business, but I also remind myself that the grass is not always greener on the other side, and also there's just so much work that needs to be done to get it to a level where you want it to, which then makes it exciting because you know there's work to do, you just need to do it. Got this thing on here, 95%, drawing 54, 56 watts. I got a little nervous this morning. I came in and it was at 85%. It hadn't fully charged the battery, and then I thought it was broken, so I just reset the battery, I unplugged it, and then replugged it back in, and in the last 10 minutes it charged about 10%, 11%, which was really good. This thing takes about 10-15 minutes to warm up. It's actually pretty quick, which is nice. Now, I only talk about some of this because I think about it all the time, and I think it would help some of you, which is like, no matter what you do that is new, it eventually becomes normal life. And so it looks exciting before you jump into it, and then you jump into it and you realize it's basically the same thing as what you have. And you've probably learned this through things like buying things. Like maybe you bought a car and you were so excited to have it, and you got it and you're just like, all right, cool, whatever. It doesn't matter because it's just normal life again. And the thing I found to be super helpful, and I still deal with this every day, but like, it's more about just showing up and doing work instead of the actual work that you're doing. Like, just working matters more than the actual work, which may sound stupid and also may be easier coming from someone who has their own business and maybe it looks cool to you, even though it's just normal life still. And so what I found to be helpful is like, instead of just constantly thinking about moving on to the next, it's just what can you do that's right in front of you and make it as good as possible. And that can be boring at times, but it also just removes you from whatever is to come. So maybe you want to start a new business because you think it will make more money than the one that you are currently in. But at the end of the day, no matter what you get from it won't really matter. And so it's just the work that you do that matters, because whatever you get will just become normal life again. And I know this all sounds kind of stupid, but like, whenever I think about switching businesses or wanting to do something different, which I think all entrepreneurs probably deal with, I remember that it's not really going to change my life. Like, it's not going to make me any happier than I already am. I'm pretty happy. I'm about where I'm going to remain probably for the rest of my life overall. I don't know, just a thought lately, because I've realized that new things won't make you as happy as you think they will. They're just exciting in the beginning, and then once you get into them, it's all the same. So you might as well just stick with what you've got and do it to your best ability. All right, this thing is heated up. We're gonna put these two in here. The nice part about a big press like this is I can do multiple at once. And I just need the moisture wicking fabric, which I have right here. I'll lay that over. Thanks to everyone who commented on one of the last videos and talked about some of the moisture issues I might be having here. They talked about this shop might have too much moisture in here, especially because you got like the concrete, you get moisture and stuff, something like this, and then the bottom there's concrete, and then ICC profiles and stuff like that I have to learn about. So it gave me a long to-do list here this next month or two. I also need to get this heat press off the floor. There's a moving company here in this building, but they're never here, so I can't really go ask them to help me lift it. Probably just get a friend over here to help me get it onto the shelf. I actually don't care that it's on the floor, but for videos it looks pretty stupid. These are all done now. Pull these out. I think one thing that would help with the moisture is if this heat press wasn't on the floor though, because it puts it closer to moisture if there is any down here. Now, it doesn't feel like there's any, but I know from basements and stuff like that there usually is moisture. And what happens is this pad underneath soaks it up, I believe, and that's where the moisture typically kind of stays. And so when you open this up, there'll be like small water puddles on top here because it comes out of this and does whatever. I actually really don't know, but that's kind of what I've gathered from this. The other thing is, I don't know if moisture comes out of either the paper or the metal also when it's pressing. So maybe pre-pressing, like I've read about, would help as well. This is why I talk about like sticking with something, because every day I'm reminded that I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. And if I jump to something new, I will just still not know what I'm doing. And the only time things are actually enjoyable to do is when you're good at them. So you might as well get good at something. Those two prints are done. So we're going to take this paper here. I'm actually gonna roll it out this way. And then take the print, pull the paper off, and I'll show you guys when they're done. Pull the tape off the sides of it, and then I just lay it face down on here. It's ready to go. So actually we'll go this way. So we're gonna fit two of them on here. And I leave like just a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch all the way around, so that when I cut it, I can fold it over and tape it to it so that it holds in place. Another thing I normally do is I sublimate my logo on the back side here, but I forgot my ruler back home that allows me to line it up in the middle, and so I gotta get a new one before I can put the logos on the back side. because if not, if I try to eyeball it, it comes out crooked, and you can notice it when you put the frames on because it's so close to the edges. One thing I've got to do here is just lay this foam tape on all the way around. Just measure it out as best I can. I don't have to go too crazy with it. And then the real goal is just to fill as much of it as possible all the way around. You don't really want to leave too much on the corners. I used to not do the corners. I used to just go edge to edge and leave the corners free, but then the corner's not stuck on and it's not as nice. So we just go all the way for the most part. You don't have to go all the way to the edge, just I keep it pretty close. Especially on these small frames, it's really not necessary to go all the way because this tape is so strong. It's never coming off, I hope. Could be wrong. I could jinx myself. On the bigger frames, I really make it important to go all the way to the very edge just because, I don't know, I like that extra just in case. Those are all done. Now we're just going to put them on the back sides. I have to pull these little tabs off, though, the back side of the tape, and so I turn them into tabs so that I can pull them when I put the frame on. Because if you don't, then you have no way of getting at it. So I take a little X-Acto knife and I just kind of lift it up. I fold it like third or halfway down. Call it good. Just enough that I can grab it when I need to. Okay, and then I take these, I lay them on here like this. And these just hook right onto the edge, so I know that it lines up perfect every time, which is really nice. I had someone with a 3D printer make these for me. I just gave them the measurements. Then I line one corner up. And then make sure it's sitting in there right. Press it down. And pull that off. Make sure it's aligned again. Press it, and then it's good to go. Then you just press this down 100 times to make sure it's on. Another thing I do is I fold this tape or this paper over and I tape it down to make sure it's all on, and then I go around and I press from the front on the edge of this frame so that all of this seals tight with the tape, because if I push on the table, it actually doesn't get all of it. So flipping it over and then pressing it helps a lot. We're gonna lay this one on here, same exact deal. They're both portrait style, so they go up and down just like this. These are what the two of them look like, all finished up. And then there's the back side, the frame. Not sure how much you can see that. And so I'm gonna put these two, I'm gonna wrap these two up and get them in boxes, and we'll pack up the 4 of them and get them sent out. I just realized I don't have any foam tape. I didn't bring any with me because it didn't fit in my truck when I was driving down here. And so I found a little piece of it. So this one is all ready to go. And then this is what the back side of one looks like on a bigger one. So I taped a little bracket to it so that you can hang it up, and then there's a little thing here with stickers and screws for hanging it. I'm gonna run to Lowe's and go get foam and some other boxes because I need a bunch of stuff. I didn't even realize that. If you're really good at metal prints and you're in the Charleston area, you know, a couple hours away, I'd love to come check out your place or just learn from you. If you're not in the area, message back and forth. So leave a comment, send me a message, do whatever. Would love to connect.